Throughout this series, I'll be suggesting subtle and somewhat radical changes that I consider necessary for genuine improvement of the broken American education system. Almost anyone working in education will regard most of my sentiments as common sense, so why isn't common sense common practice when it comes to this particular field? As I said in the first video of this series, it all starts with money. In order to imbue the average denizen with the baseline of knowledge and life skills that we truly have the potential to provide, this country needs to start taking education seriously. Administrators take it seriously, teachers take it seriously, and even a considerable number of students take their own education seriously. The problem is that the people at the top seem to think it's a joke. In my eyes, the only way the government can show that it takes its educational system seriously is to invest in it accordingly. I mean that word literally. Money spent in education is a genuine investment for the future, with the potential to pay off in significant dividends. Irrespective of initial poverty levels, educated citizens who feel empowered and capable of success are far less likely to commit crimes or rely on government assistance to support them and their children. A recent Pew survey indicated only 22% of American citizens said they can almost always trust their government. In a nation where some children attend schools without running water or functional roofing, how could you expect them to grow up trusting their government? My own school district is currently running 6 buses that are technically against legal code. Replacing them alone will put our district $1.2 million in debt next year. When's the last time a military base didn't have running water, functioning roofs, adequate staff, or respectable transportation, or well-paid leaders? Our military's relaunching of the Patriot Missile program in 2003 cost $7.3 billion, with $1.1 billion doing the development of software alone. The cost of that program would be more than enough to purchase a Kindle for every one of the 16.3 million public high school students in America and alleviate the presence of outdated textbooks or 35-pound backpacks while providing individual services for students with special needs. Did I mention that each individual Patriot missile cost 170 million taxpayer dollars in and of itself? Try not to shiver when I tell you that in the Gulf War, the combined success rate of each missile fired against Iraqi Scud missiles was 0 to 10%. I use the Patriot missile program as a single example, but keep in mind that that's only one sliver of the pie that makes up the weapons, vehicles, gear, fuel, food, payroll, etc. for our overbloated, inefficient, and overly used military. But why invest those funds into an education system that could reduce the strain of the police force, relieve the overcrowded prisons, and shorten the welfare lines when it's so much more patriotic to invest in the invasion of other countries and call it national defense? The military isn't our only misallocation of finances. The average rookie in the National Basketball Association makes nearly $1 million per year after spending the minimum of 1 year in college. The average first-year teacher with a bachelor's degree in America makes $40,000 per year, with massive differences depending on the districts they work in. As a society, we have chosen to invest our money and our attention into the wallets of our mercenaries and entertainers, not our children or their educators. The amount of money I make isn't nearly as important to me as the students receiving the resources for a quality education. It's a common fact that teachers don't make much money, and that some of what they make gets spent in their own classrooms, and that it's financial suicide to enter a career in that field, especially if you're paying for college yourself. But when a high school student looks at rappers, sports figures, and celebrities that they consider role models, driving flashy cars and decked out in gaudy jewelry, it's a little tough for a teacher making $30K a year to compete with them in terms of respect or admiration. Teachers are literally told in workshops across the country, as education budgets are consistently cut every year, that our districts can't afford things, so you'll just have to work around it. You still need to provide those kids with the best quality education under the circumstances that you can control. If your district gives you lemons, you'll just have to make lemonade. I'm fine with that until this country decides to take education seriously enough to throw us more than lemons. But in the meantime, it would help to at least have some sugar.